class that we have held. Welcome. Our mission in the Florida chapter from Tampa Bay is to bridge the gap between industry leaders and business analysts by building partnerships with professionals, educators, and employers so that we may empower, instruct, and engage the Tampa Bay IT community. We have a variety of ways to contact us. You've seen this before probably. Take a screenshot if you want to see it more. But you have people that you can engage with in a variety of avenues. Our board is getting ready to elect new members. Right now, we have Cliff as our president, Lori as our vice president of finance. Caitlin and Priscilla are members at large, which means they only lean in periodically whenever they have bandwidth. My name is Thea Raisins. I'm the vice president of career and professional development. And my cohort in crime for this study group leader is Tiffany Gardner. You'll see our LinkedIn profile links here. LinkedIn is the best way to contact me. I'm assuming Tiffany feels the same way, or she wouldn't have provided that to you. We have Bob on the line as well. Bob is our resident expert because he has taken his CBAP and passed it. He does have a website that has a variety of very interesting information, and I encourage you to explore it because it has a wide breadth of knowledge. Let's see who is online here. Participants.
Sharing your screen and you're still echoing.
Okay. Well, I need to be able to do both of these things at the same time. Okay, we've got Julia. I know you're here. I saw you a while ago. You have Ilya. We do have Leslie. Yay.
Yes.
And Sid. There's Sid. That's a Y. And Cliff is here. Tiffany is here.
You might want to share
Bob
your
is
screen,
here.
Thea.
I am here. We'll check.
Can she hear us?
Let's see.
I don't think she can.
Don't see anybody else. Am I missing anybody, guys?
Can you hear us, Thea?
Okay. We'll
I
go on.
don't think she
That'll
can
be
hear us.
enough.
Okay, today is the 26th. We have made it to the 10th class. We are about third to halfway through the book. We have had a wide track record of experience here with business analysis, planning, and monitoring. We averaged about 76 points. Elicitation and collaboration, we didn't do so well. We were more at about 56 points. And now we're doing requirements lifecycle management. Let's see how we do today.
Thea?
Let me get the right thing here.
I can't see her.
Okay, requirements lifecycle management. We're going to begin.
None of us can.
I don't think she can hear us.
As
I
a
don't see a
business
screen.
analyst, let me move this over and so I can see if y'all are texting, since we seem to have an echo problem. There we go. As a business analyst, you're managing and maintaining requirements and design information from inception to retirement. You just completed a set of requirements that have been verified to be of sufficient quality to be used as a reliable body of work for further specification and development. Which of the following would be your next logical task? Are you going to define design options, approve requirements, accept requirements, or analyze potential value and recommend solutions? Bob?
We cannot see your screen.
Okay. I cannot hear y'all. Bob, you're saying, and y'all can hear me though, right? Okay. Well, I tell you what, let's use the chat to vote for your answer, and we'll go from there because I don't know that we want to spend very much time trying to resolve this technical issue.
We cannot see your screen.
Oh, you cannot see my screen. I apologize. I thought I was sharing my screen. Let's do it again. Now can you see my screen?
It says you started screen sharing. There we go.
Okay, very good. Excellent. I needed that. Thank you for your help. Let's see. Now I need to get back to chat so I can see that.
Can you hear us?
Okay. So which one do you think is the correct answer? A, B, C, or D? If you want to type things, I'll be glad to read it to everybody.
Yeah, she can't hear us.
Okay, let's try C. Okay, there is no such task in the BABOK. It's okay, that's how we learn. The next thing is to approve requirements. So you've completed the set of requirements, you've verified that they're of sufficient quality to be used as a reliable body of work for further specification and development. Then you go through and you be sure that your business owners have accepted the requirements. So your verified requirements are input for the approved requirements task. But you know what? You answered, and I appreciate you answering. Okay, let's see what the next one is. To effectively manage requirements throughout all phases of a change initiative, the business analyst will complete which of these tasks? Okay, A, trace requirements, maintain requirements for reuse, define requirement architecture, assess requirements, changes, and approve requirements. B, trace requirements, maintain requirements for reuse, prioritize requirements, assess requirements, changes, and approve requirements. C, define the business need, define goals and objectives, validate requirements, define change strategy and the scope of the solution space. Or D, trace requirements, maintain requirements for reuse, prioritize requirements, assess risk, and approve requirements. C doesn't seem like it matches, it fits the pattern of the other ones, does it?
That's why I think it may be right, but I have not read the chapter. Because that really talks about the entire process in the way that I think about it.
Okay, let's try B.
Okay.
B is correct. The requirements life cycle management knowledge area includes these tasks. Trace requirements, maintain requirements includes reuse, prioritize requirements, assess requirements, change, and approve requirements. Very good. Okay,
So
let's go to the
that's
next one.
talking about the requirements life cycle and not the entire engagement life cycle. I don't know that the question made that particularly clear.
Okay. The following statements require requirements traceability. Which one does not describe requirements traceability? Enables more more reliable discovery of inconsistencies and gaps in requirements. Identifies and documents the lineage of each requirement, including its backward traceability, its forward traceability, and its relationship to other requirements. Proves that a solution is a cohesive whole that will work. Traceability proves that every requirement links back to an objective and shows how an objective was met, but does not prove the solution is a cohesive whole that will work. Or D, it is used to detect missing functionality or to identify there is an implemented functionality that is not supported by any requirement. Okay, let's try D. The correct answer is C. Good job, Yulia. Proves that a solution is a cohesive whole. This does not describe requirements traceability. Traceability yes, this is not the correct answer for requirements traceability, but it is the correct answer for this question. Good job. D was wrong because though tracing the requirements relationships to other requirements, missing functionality could be detected. Okay, very good. The next one, when are reuse requirements first identified? Whenever you're talking about current state, when you're talking about future state, when you're talking about past state, or when you're talking about change state. I don't think past state is a real thing. Okay, let's try D. Change state is a made-up term, but current state is whenever reuse requirements are first identified. Requirements that are intended for reuse are identified in the current state of the organization. Okay, Maritza is a business analyst on a data strategy effort. Artifacts such as business models and business maps are created, reviewed, and approved individually without having to wait for the entire package. Which approach is being employed for this effort? Predictive approach, strategic approach, adaptive approach, or analytical approach? So we're talking about business model, business maps are being created, reviewed, and approved without having to wait for the entire package. Okay, let's try C. Adaptive project approaches typically approve requirements when the construction of the solution is ready to begin. Very good. Several of y'all voted on that one. Good job. Okay, approval of requirements in design may be formal or informal. Which of the following refer to requirements that have been approved? WBS, which is work breakdown structure. Requirements approved. Statement of work approved. Or milestone approved. Okay. Very good. Requirements that have been approved are approved and ready for use in subsequent business analysis efforts. So that means they've been approved for reuse. What is performed to assess or evaluate the effect of a change? Manage requirements approval, traceability, baselining, or impact analysis? Let's check on D. Impact analysis is performed to assess and evaluate the effect of a change. Very good. In a requirements approval workshop, ROCO is responsible for providing opinion on the relationship between stated requirements and specific laws, either formally or in an audit, or informally as inputs to a requirements lifecycle management task. What types of stakeholder is ROCO? Is he a sponsor, domain subject matter expert, a regulator, or operational support? He's responsible for providing the opinion. Okay, we've got mixed on this one. Let's try B and see what the answer is. Okay, the correct answer is regulator. This is the stated definition of a regulator for the approved requirements task. Responsible for providing opinion on the relationship between stated requirement and specific laws, either formally in an audit or informally as inputs to the requirements lifecycle management tasks. Okay, that's the job of a regulator.
Be correct by the definition, but that is really saying that the regulator is a role inside the organization. And the way we typically think about that is a regulator is some entity that is outside the organization, either an industry body or government. So I would challenge that question, or I'd flag it.
Okay, thank you. I apologize. You know I can't hear you. I can just see that you're talking. So if you want to talk, you're going to have to show me your camera. Otherwise, I can't respond other than wait till you finish. You're conducting impact analysis.
You heard that. No.
Okay. You're conducting impact analysis to evaluate the effect of a change request. You plan to document the impacts and resolutions resulting from the analysis and will communicate them to all relevant stakeholders to gain consensus. Which of the following will guide how these decisions are made and communicated across the initiative? The PMO, your project management office, plan business analysis information management, requirement management plan, or plan business analysis governance. Bob asked to flag the last question. I will go back and flag it. Okay, we've got an A and a D. Anybody else want to weigh in on this one? And a B, and a D. Okay, we've got two Ds. Let's try a D. The correct answer is Plan Business Analysis Governance. It determines how decisions are made and communicated. Okay, next. Traceability helps manage requirements and assesses in risk, time, change, and scope management. What else can it do? Identify missing stakeholders, identify missing functionality, detect implementation issues, or identify code defects. We got a consensus. Good job. Traceability also helps detect missing functionality. Very good, guys. You have been hired as a business analyst for an initiative. You discovered there are several requirements that are candidates for long-term use by the organization. As a new hire, which guideline would provide information on how requirements will be managed and reused? The governance approach, information management approach, legal and regulatory information, or domain knowledge? Okay, looks like we've got a consensus again. Well, maybe, except B is right. Information management approach is the only guideline tool the BABOK lists for the maintain requirements task. Governance approach is not correct because information management approach is the only guideline tool. Blah, blah, blah. Same thing again. Yes, way to go, Yoya. For real. Okay, Megan is a business analyst for an organization and she's coaching Lindsay, a new business analyst, on the importance of identifying and recording key dependencies between requirements. Which one of the following is the primary reason why key dependencies should be identified and recorded? to identify the benefit of each requirement, to help achieve efficiency in implementing related requirements at the same time, to determine who owns the requirement in the project lifecycle, to identify the relevant risk of each requirement. Recording key dependencies between requirements. Okay, let's try B. Yes, identifying and documenting dependencies assists the business analyst in sequencing project work activities to design and deploy the capabilities found in the requirements. It also assists the business analyst in correctly allocating requirements to solution components. Very good. Which of the following is needed to assess a change to requirements? Traced needs, proposed change, traced designs, or current state description? No, Cliff. Okay, let's try B. Very good. The proposed change is about the input is an input to assess requirements change. To ensure the context and original intent of the requirements is preserved, business analysts do which of the following? Rank requirements to determine their relative importance to stakeholders, maintain the relationship among requirements, sets of requirements, and associated business analyst analysis information, identify and maintain backward and forward traceability of requirements, and ensure the integrity of requirements by storing them in secure repositories. Okay, we've got a D and a B. Okay, let's try B. Performing these tasks ensures the context and original intent of the requirement is preserved. So it's maintain the relationships among requirements, sets of requirements, and associated business analysis information. Traceability is best described by which of the following features and benefits? Traceability assists in managing accountability for requirements by stakeholders by assessing how well the requirements map to business needs. Traceability assists in managing changes to the requirements that will occur after the requirements are baselined. Traceability metrics are used by the Change Management Board to approve or deny requests for change. And traceability requirements supplement business requirements and functional requirements. Goodness, we're all over the board here. Let's try A, see what we get. Okay, A is not correct because traceability refers to requirements, not to business analysis or particular stakeholders. B is correct. Traceability assists in managing changes to the requirements that will occur after the requirements are baselined because part of the bidirectional definition of traceability, it is one of the benefits of tracing requirements. Traceability is used to help ensure that a solution conforms to the requirements and assists in scope change and risk, time, cost, and communication management. Yes, Bob.
I would say that the BABOK really needs to be clear about how it's thinking about traceability. So there's traceability through the project from the identified business need to requirements, design, implementation, and test, and so on. And then there's also traceability logically between features and functionality. And that is never made very clear in the BABOK, and these questions randomly refer to it both ways. So I propose that when we redo the BABOK, that we clarify this, and that'll make these questions much more clear as well.
Okay, Thank you, Bob. I appreciate the hand messages also. Okay, next one. Brett has completed a review workshop meeting with accountable individuals, and they have indicated their agreement with the requirements. Where would Brett record his agreement? In a decision registry, in requirement management tools, a shared drive, or a SharePoint site? Okay, let's try B. Requirement management tools is the stated guideline tool utilized to record requirements approval. So you can use a requirement management tool that's in a variety of different systems. It can be a Word document, it can be Excel, it can be Jira. But it needs to be the place that you keep your requirements managed. Which of the following is not a consideration in the trace requirements task? Level of formality, relationships, depends, or traceability repository? Goodness, we've got a C, a D, an A, an A. Okay, we got several A's. Let's try it. Okay, level of formality is not right because that is effort of trace requirement grows significantly when the number of requirements or level of formality increases. The correct answer is depends. This is a type of relationship versus an element of tracing requirements. Bob, you want to talk about what a depends is for relationship?
Well, really a better word is dependency. So there's a hierarchy of needs. Some things depend on other things, both in implementation order and in kind of logical feature order. Using the word depends is okay, not my favorite. So
Okay. Next one. Which of the following is not considered a guideline or tool for assessing requirements changes? Requirements architecture, change strategy, domain knowledge, or change control? Okay. Let's try C. Got a few more votes on that one. But the correct answer is Ilya again, man and lady. Okay, change control is correct because change control is not included in the listing for guidelines or tools for assessing changes. The change control process is developed during the plan for business analysis governance task. Domain strategy is listed in the guidelines and tools. What is traceability considered an enabler of? Enhanced relationship management, faster and simpler impact analysis, improved stakeholder management, or better requirements management planning? Okay, let's try D. Okay, the correct answer is traceability does enable faster and simpler impact analysis. Better requirements management planning. You plan for traceability when planning the business analysis information management approach. Part the requirements management planning, but traceability itself does not enable planning. Yay! Now we know. Which of the following stakeholders are typically involved in reviewing and approving requirements? Domain SME, end user, and sponsor. Domain SME, implementation SME, and tester. Domain SME, sponsor, project manager. Or domain SME, customer, and sponsor. Okay, let's try D. The roles are all involved in the review and approval of requirements. So domain SME, customer, and sponsor. I want to note that these are very generic titles. People in your organization may call them something different. You just got to understand what the BABOK means that title is actually talking about. I agree. Customer and end users are very, very similar. Very good. Okay, Bo is a BA working on a telecommunications project. The business architect gives him a reference model called ETOM, commonly used in the communication sector. What value might this have for Bo? The model will provide Bo with information regarding how work is currently performed and the information required to complete work. The model will provide Bo with understanding of how the strategic objective for the organization are aligned with tactical demands and activities in the current state of the enterprise. It will have little value to Bo as it is focused on information technology, or the model will provide Bo an understanding of how the organization currently delivers value to customers. Let's try D. Okay, this is correct as a business architectural model used from within the communications industry. The model will provide Bo with an understanding of how the strategic objective of the organization are aligned with tactical demands and activities in the current state. But this answer is too narrow, according to the BABOK. The correct answer would be this reference model called ETOM is utilized within the communications industry to model business architecture. Show us the page in the book. Okay, let me get that page open. So we need to be looking at table 11.1. I agree with you, Cliff. Okay, breadth of change. Let me make this a little bit bigger so we can all see it. Can you see the BABOK? Can you see the screen? Okay. Breadth of change. Business architecture may be performed across the enterprise as a whole, across a single line of business within the enterprise, defining the architecture of one or more of the enterprise's business models, or across a single functional division. Go down. Business architecture activities are generally performed from a view of the entire enterprise in mind, but may also be performed with an autonomous business unit within the enterprise. A broad scope is required to manage consistency and integration at the enterprise level. For example, business architecture can clarify a situation where the same business capability is implemented by multiple different processes and multiple different organizations using different information models. Given the clarity that comes from an enterprise scope, the business can then determine if its structure is the best way to align the with its strategic objectives. Yes, I know we were looking at chapter 5, but this is the thing that it refers us to. Yes, Bob.
I think with chapter 10 is different with the 50 techniques, but 11 kind of goes hand in hand with everything else. There won't be a lot of questions that refer to it. And if I recall correctly, just knowing what the different perspectives are in a rough outline of each will give you enough familiarity to be able to answer the related questions correctly.
Okay. I may be saying the same thing you just said, but I'm going to assume if the business architect gives him a reference model, it actually does apply to that project. That's the only thing I can think of that would impact this. Okay, next one. The purpose of tracing requirements is best described by which of the following statements? Traceability metrics are used by the Change Management Board to approve or deny requests for change. Traceability requirements supplement business requirements and functional requirements. Ensuring that requirements are designed and designs at different levels are aligned to one another and to manage the effects of change from one level to the related requirements. Or traceability assists in managing accountability for requirements activities that are performed by stakeholders outside the requirements team. I've got 2 votes for C. Let's go with that. Correct. This is the purpose as listed in the BABOK 5.1.1. The purpose of tracing requirements is best described as ensuring the requirements and designs at different levels are aligned to one another and to manage the effects of change to one level of unrelated requirements. Brad is the business analyst in his business unit. The organization is undergoing restructuring and introducing changes to the business analysis approach. As part of the structural changes, Brad has been asked to assess each proposed change. In this activity, which of the following is least likely to be a consideration? Each proposed change impacts the time to deliver or resources required to deliver value. Each proposed change aligns with the overall strategy. Each proposed change affects value delivered to the business or stakeholder groups. And each proposed change aligns with the business case, which is least likely to be a consideration. Okay, let's try D. Correct. This is a fabricated answer and therefore the correct one for this question, because the question was which is the least likely to be a consideration. Which of the following criteria are the basis for prioritization of requirements? Issue benefit cost dependencies, risk benefit constraints dependencies, risk benefit cost dependencies, or risk baseline cost and dependencies. Okay, let's try C. This is the criteria for basis of prioritization. Risk, benefit, cost, and dependencies. Very good, Ilya. I can't wait till you take your test and pass, and we can all celebrate with you. Okay, which of the following items should a BA have defined in order to prioritize requirements or assess changes to requirements? Proposed change, potential value, change strategy, or requirements? Which should they have defined to prioritize requirements or assess changes to requirements? Wow, we're all over the board this time, guys. Let's try B. Let's try D and see what we get. Requirements along with design are needed inputs to all the tasks in the requirements lifecycle management knowledge area. Very good. Okay, let's view the results. We are at 60%. We're also 40 minutes into the meeting. We have another 20 minutes to go. Would y'all like to keep answering questions?
while she's sending me next block, does anyone have any general comments or questions for the group?
Okay, somebody's going to tell me in chat if you want to keep answering questions.
Seeing none, we'll continue.
Okay, let's go. Let's go back to requirements lifecycle management because 60% is probably not what any of us want. I'm going to let y'all read this yourself because this is long. Okay, let's try D. The correct answer is going to be A. We want to minimize the resources that are spent before learning that a proposed solution cannot be delivered. One of Agile's solution is to fail fast. That is, don't spend a lot of time and money on a non-risky functionality if there's a chance overall the solution may not be possible. The screen is small. Let's see if I can make it bigger. Is that better? Okay. See if I can make it even a little bit bigger for you. Okay, good. Tiffany, do you want me to flag this one? Okay, I'm happy to. Okay, suppose you discover that stakeholders are complaining about requirements for a product. You found that some of the requirements in the review session only applied to a division in Brazil and did not pertain to those in the US and Europe. You realize that in presenting the requirements you should have determined the appropriate stakeholder groups. The Brazilian division had such unique requirements that their requirements should not have been taken into account. Told the Brazilian division that their requirements were out of scope. Held separate interviews with each stakeholder group in order to determine their unique requirements, or determined which requirements were relevant to which stakeholder groups and presented those in an appropriate format. Okay. I think we've got consensus here. Very good. The task of the business analyst is to ensure the solution requirements and design are aligned to one another, which that does not seem like it says this, but I understand this. Okay, let's go on. What are the outputs that you're looking to achieve by prioritizing requirements? You want requirements prioritized, designed, and approved, requirements approved, designed, and prioritized, requirements prioritized, designed, and prioritized, and requirements designed, and prioritized. Okay. Okay, we got lots of different answers here. Let's see if A is right. The correct the correct answer is requirements that are prioritized, and the design that is prioritized as depicted in BABOK, figure 5.3.1 and section 5.3.8. Anybody disagree with this? Okay, let's go on. Depending on which level of abstraction and intended need being addressed, requirements can be reused, which is not one of the solutions in which the requirement can be reused. Within similar initiatives, within the current initiative, within the current iteration, or throughout the entire organization, which is not one of the solutions in which requirements can be reused. Okay, let's try C. The answer is correct. Requirements can be reused within the current initiatives. Requirements can be reused within the current initiative. Iterations are short and focus on delivering unique functionality. The BABOK states they can be reused during the current initiative, but not the current iteration. Which of the following statements is not true regarding assessment formality within the assess requirements change task? Adaptive approaches try to minimize the impact of change by utilizing initiative and incremental implementation techniques. Many proposed changes may be withdrawn from the consideration or declined before any formal approval is required. A predictive approach may indicate a more formal assessment of proposed changes, or the project manager will determine the formality of the assess process based on the information available, the apparent importance of the change, and the governance process. Okay, let's try D. The correct answer, the business analyst determines that these three components, not the project manager. Thank you. So the business analyst will determine the formality of the assessment process based on the information available, the apparent importance of the change, and the governance process. Very good. Ed is a new business analyst working on the requirements for a large initiative to expand the functionality of an insurance product at his company. A senior BA told Ed that he should use a requirements management tool to trace the requirements for this effort. To make using the complexity of requirements management tool worthwhile, what can be applied from the senior business analyst suggestion? There are multiple relationships between requirements on this project. There are relatively few requirements for Ed's project, poorly defined requirements, or the number of requirements are quite extensive. Okay, let's try A. This is an invented answer. The correct answer is the number of requirements are quite extensive. Although it is not required, trace a large number of requirements may be unmanageable with a manual approach. So Tiffany, you use the you believe that multiple relationships between requirements on the project is not an invented answer in the real life, but it is according to the BABOK. Is that correct? Okay, I understand. Stefan works at an IT shop in Vienna. He is in charge of identifying and managing risk associated with solution design, development, delivery, implementation, operation, and sustainment. What kind of stakeholder is Stefan? Is he a sponsor, a regulator, a domain SME, or a project manager? He manages risk. Okay, I've got three different answers so far. Let's try C. So the correct answer is he is a project manager responsible for identifying and managing risk associated with solution design, development, delivery, implementation, operation, and sustainment. Julian works in the IT department at a financial institution. She is responsible for ensuring that requirements and design are supportable within the constraints imposed by technology standards and organizational capability plans. She may also have a role in reviewing and approving requirements. What type of stakeholder is Julian? A regulator, operational support, domain subject matter expert, or sponsor? Okay, let's try A. The correct answer is operational support. The scenarios presented in this role's responsibility for the task of approved requirements. So she is responsible as operational support for ensuring the requirements and design are supportable within constraints imposed by technology, standards, and the organization's capability plans. Yep. Okay, 3 of the following statements are inaccurate about prioritization. Which one is accurate? Prioritization is an assessment of absolute value. Each stakeholder may value something different. Stakeholders may intentionally indicate priority to influence the results to their desired outcome. Once an implementation team has provided the cost of each requirements are baselined and prioritization is complete. Stakeholders are sometimes rigid, and priorities are unlikely to shift as the context evolves and as more information becomes available. Let's find out. The correct answer is B. Stakeholders may intentionally indicate priority to influence the results of their design outcome. This is one of the challenges of prioritization, which is element in prioritized requirements task. You know that whenever you're working with stakeholders to prioritize something, very often they'll do one of two things. They'll either say they're all equally important, and that's all, at the top of the importance level, which that's not reasonable. So then you get them down to, okay, which ones are a 5, a 4, a 3, a 2, and 1. You have to be sure that what they are saying is checked by other people so that they don't get their pet projects prioritized highly. Which of the following stakeholders will be more focused on prioritization being consistent with legal and regulatory constraints? The implementation SME, the sponsor, the project manager, or the regulator? The correct answer is D. The regulator verifies the prioritization is consistent with legal and regulatory constraints. That is their entire world, isn't it? And as Tiffany says, good job, everybody. As business analysts on an initiative, you are documenting relationships that exist between requirements. While traceability is valuable, you balance the number of relationship types with the benefit gained by representing them. Which stakeholder would be required to approve these relationships? The product owner, the sponsor, the tester, or the project manager? Okay, let's see if it's the product owner. The correct answer is going to be the sponsor. The sponsor would be required to approve these relationships, various relationships in the trace requirements task. Which of the following permits the business analyst to identify and document requirements relationship to other requirements, business rules, work products, and solution components? A requirements workshop, a business analyst analysis package, a requirements review, requirements traceability. Requirements traceability permits the business analyst to identify and document the lineage of each requirement to other requirements, work products, and other components. Very good. Okay, two more questions. Bless you. What are the inputs of approved requirements? Requirements in design, verified requirements and verified designs, verified requirements and design, or requirements and verified design? Okay, let's try B. The correct answer is C, verified requirements and design, because requirements must be verified before they get approved or designed. So B could still be right. If you have verified requirements, you could still get verified designs, but that's not one of the inputs for approved requirements according to 5.5.3. Okay. No. A requirements management tool may be needed to trace large numbers of requirements. What is this tool called? Requirements organization system, change management system, traceability and relationship management system, or requirements management repository. Okay, let's try D. Correct. The requirements management tool / repository can be used to store and manage a large number of requirements. The tool can be as simple as a text or spreadsheet document, or as complex as the requirements management system, according to BABOK 5.1.5. Okay, guys, we can get one more question in. Let's get it done. Nate is the senior business analyst for the NRO company. He is working with Rod on completing the requirements prioritization of all identified requirements. Why would Rod and Nate complete requirements prioritization? To determine which requirements carry the most risk, to determine who created what requirement based on their position in the organization, to determine which requirements should be completed first, or to determine which requirements could be changed. Okay, let's try C. This is justification for completing the prioritization task. Okay, guys, let's, we've got 10 unanswered questions. I don't think I can get to the score from here. Yeah, I can. We answered 15. We got 8 wrong answers. We're running at about 50%. So we had 60% on the 25 we did first, and we have a little bit less than that. We have around 50% on what we are doing now. Okay. Yeah, I know. It just tells us this is something we need to focus on a little bit more. Why don't y'all let me know if you want to do this same chapter again next week, so we can try to get a better score, or we go on to the next chapter. Same chapter, Tiffany? I would look at 5, 10, and 11.
I think by what I've heard, your analysis is pretty solid, and the questions on the actual exam are probably easier and more clear than these. So you're actually in slightly better shape than this exercise would indicate, but studying more and knowing the material code will never hurt.
Okay, so in that case, let's go to the next chapter this next time. 58% is what we got total. And so that's going to be chapter 6. And we will see how we do on that one. And we'll continue to make forward progress. What I've noticed as you study through this is as you broaden your knowledge in the BABOK, you'll start to grasp things that are in the other chapters a little bit better, that, as you passed it. And it's like, oh, I can make the connection now. But it's not until you get that next piece of knowledge that you get it. It's not that way for every single thing in the BABOK, but for some of it is. So next week, we'll go through chapter 6. Thank you, everyone. I'm sorry about the technical difficulties. We don't anticipate having these every time, and it definitely cut down on my enjoyment not getting to hear your conversations. It is time to close down. So thank you very much. See you next week. Bye-bye.